21st, 2022 at 6:31 p.m. Present with us is President of the Council, Councilor McGee, and Councilor Cocaine Givner, who I haven't seen in person for a while.
Been really sick since Halloween.
Okay. And then myself, Israel Rivera.
Motion to adjourn? No, just kidding. So kidding.
Present with us, we have also Councilor Tessa Murphy-Ramboletti. Entertain a motion to take up the first item.
Motion to take up item 1.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 1 was filed by Councilor Israel Rivera, myself, on October 18th. It's requesting that the Disabilities Commission come into public safety and explain the process of a resident applying for a handicapped space, as well as how the spaces are identified to the particular resident that was granted the space. Present with us, we have Donnie Welsh, who I believe is the chair, right? And with him, what was your name again? Betty Larrabee, who is the secretary for the commission. Thank you for that. Do we have to entertain a motion to give them the floor, or they just have?
No, they had because you invited them in.
Perfect. So the purpose, as I had explained before, for this order was to provide the public pretty much an understanding of the process of what happens after they apply for the handicap space, and why or why not you can't technically assign a space to an individual constituent per se, because I filed this because I've had a lot of requests from people that get their handicap spaces and other people park in them, and they feel upset because they take so much time and effort to actually apply for the space, but someone else is able to park in them. So go ahead, Todd.
I can answer the second part.
Well, so I get it now.
You can answer all of them.
But I kind of wanted to bring him in to answer it, so that way when people ask, I can just say, well, on November 21st on YouTube, you can go ahead and see the answers to your questions. So go ahead.
First of all, Betty is the longest serving member on the committee with over probably 25 years. 30.
Thank you for your service.
So she's a wealth of knowledge too with the Handicap Commission and the laws going on. The handicap parking spaces for the city, it's a process. It is a long process. The person comes down, I believe, to the city clerk's office to fill out the form. The form was made a few years ago and by the committee and tweaked by the city council about what's on the form and that. And there's questions on there. And some of the questions that are like, do you have off-street parking, and is it available to you? Most of those, if it is available to them, most of those we recommend. We don't say yes or no. We recommend to the council what our feeling is about it. And because it's a city ordinance, the council can, if we say no, you shouldn't put it there, the council can override us and say yes, because it's a city ordinance. We don't have the authority to do that. I'm the one that goes out and checks these. I don't really necessarily call the applicant, but I do check the property to see what's there, see if it is feasible. It comes, even though we don't meet every month, I have a good relationship with Jeffrey, and he'll call me and say, hey, we got some applications. I'll come down and get them. Or he gives me the addresses and I go out and look, so we don't have a lot of lag time. What I think takes a lot of lag time is between meetings, the ordinance and that, and the city engineer. He has to measure it. Once the application comes to us, and if it's recommended that we say yes or no, we give it back to the city council and they would vote on it as an ordinance. The reason there, a few years, at first, when I was first on the board, they used to do put the placard number on the sign. I think it was Karen Paterni at the time, the city solicitor at the time, said that we can't have the numbers on them anymore because the city can't assign a private citizen a parking space on a public street. And also, a person who has a valid placard, disabled veteran plate, or a handicap plate cannot be denied the right to park at a designated handicap spot. So that's the reason why those numbers aren't on there anymore. And that's the reason why it's not my spot. It's the city's, and unfortunately, first come, first serve. So that's the main reason that, the two main reasons that the placards are not numbered and why it's not the person, not the persons.
Thank you. Councilor Gibner?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have one question.
Sure.
And that is, can we cut the city council out of the process of voting on handicap placards?
No, I think he can answer that, but I don't think so because it's a city ordinance.
So the ordinance states that someone has to apply for it, even though it's a public parking space, and
I think what the ordinance is that it's like a no parking zone.
right.
There's a no parking zone 30 feet southwest of High Street or something like that. That's how it's measured. It's in the ordinance books, and that's how it gets enforced
So,
by a city ordinance. I don't know if
so if I'm
Councilor
understanding,
Beacon-
I mean, if you can explain probably, because the way it sounds like is, in the ordinance, it's not technically designated as a handicap space. It's designated as a no parking zone, and we kind of like add the handicap designation to it as like, that's what we're trying to do.
Correct. Since it's an ordinance, it has to come to the council to approve it, to do the measurements of a parking, whether it's limited parking, no parking, residential parking, handicap parking. It's all through ordinance that we have to approve. So it has to come to the council no matter what. Why can't they have it designated for themselves? We used to do it. Way back when I first got on, you put the placard number and it was great. And then the state came back on us, and it was Karen Attorney who frantically called us and said, we have to take every placard number off every sign because we are in state violation and we're going to get in trouble.
Because of the placard number.
Yeah, so state law, as Donnie Welch has said correctly and very well, is we put up a handicap sign for you. And obviously, we want you to go there and make your life easier to use that spot. However, I come along with my handicap parking placard. I can park there. I have
Yeah.
every right.
I'm not confused about a public street having a public handicap spot. It's like going to the mall.
Yep.
Anybody with a handicap plate can park at a handicap spot. That makes a lot of sense to me. I guess I'm just wondering why we can't, if someone fills out an application and they qualify for a handicap,
Has to be set by ordinance because you're doing the measurements and then specifically setting up that spot in order to make it handicap accessible.
okay, thank you.
And I think it gives you your power to enforce.
Gives you power to enforce through tickets and everything else.
Two other things while I'm here. One of them, I talked to Councilor Rivera just a little while ago, is about when you get city blocks and you have 3 or 4 people that want a spot there, you're gonna run into a problem. I don't think we have it yet, but you're gonna run into a problem of not having enough parking spaces for people that don't have a placard or a plate. So I think, down the road that can be addressed, whatever. And the other thing is people who have the placards, you still have to obey the parking rules. You can't park in a fire lane. You can't park in a no parking zone with a placard. The only thing that you can do that I'm aware of is park at a metered spot without putting money in the meter. If there's no other spaces, no handicap spot, it's full or whatever, and you park at a metered spot, still put the placard up, or if you have the plate, you don't have to put money in the meter. That's the only thing that, as far as parking rules go. You have anything to add, Betty?
Councilor Tessa Murphy Ramboletti.
Hi. I have a question, I guess, for the more senior folks that have seen what the council has discussed. You're not senior, it's just your term. Your length of service is senior. Has it ever been discussed about changing the ordinance so that it doesn't necessarily require city council approval? Or on the alternative, has it been discussed about, if the Commission on Disabilities says that this person meets all of the necessary requirements, then the city council can kind of just give a seal of approval without needing to necessarily delay that process? I'm just curious if it's ever been discussed.
We did discuss it in the sense of when we learned about the handicap placard signs couldn't have the regular numbers on it, and you had to open it up to everybody. But it is, since it's a ordinance requirement, it requires the council's action, because then it becomes a legal binding, law. So in essence, you can send out the commission, they approve it, and basically we do approve kind of everything that comes from them, as long as, they've reviewed it and everything, we just put it out there. The hard part is taking the signs down when the person's gone or they passed away. We only know about those when a family member or a neighbor ultimately tells us.
Yeah.
So that's where it becomes problematic trying to get those off the books, whereas putting the other ones on, it is relatively a smoother process because of the application that we set up through their help to kind of make it fast track. But with anything, I don't think it's so much the ordinance is causing the problem or anything else, it's the time frame for it. It might be better served that instead of doing it once every other week in ordinance, you have a separate committee. But I don't know how you deal with that because it is an ordinance requirement.
I guess I'm just asking if it needs to be an ordinance requirement.
It does.
It does.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
To be enforced by ticket,
Right.
right, and law.
Okay. Okay. That's helpful. Thank you.
No. Well, thank you. This was very informative, and if anybody has questions, I'll make sure to refer them to this video.
Give myself, give Betty a call anytime. If you have any questions, we're more than happy to answer them.
Thank you for coming too, and taking your time out of the day to come and spend some time with us.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
Take
that.
care.
see you.
Have a nice Thanksgiving, everybody.
You too.
Entertain a motion to comply.
Motion that this has been complied with.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Entertain a motion to move on.
You
as
too.
well. Entertain a motion to move on to item number 2.
Go to item 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 2 is filed by myself and Councilor Jose Maldonado-Velez. Order that the mayor and the Flex Squad be invited in to discuss what it is, as well as its effectiveness and what steps they're taking to make sure that the neighborhood are clean. Not just on private property, but public property as well. Councilor Maldonado-Velez is not feeling well. He couldn't be with us. I got a communication from the mayor's office with regards to this. I hope everyone has it because it's pretty long. So I don't know if I can. I'm not going to read it all right now. I'm going to be honest with you. So the request, I think, from Councilor Maldonado-Velez and myself is to table it for now, and I'll bring it back up again. And hopefully we can get a lot of the people that are involved in the Flex Squad to come in to kind of help summarize a lot of this.
Motion to table item 2.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 2 is tabled.
Did everyone get a copy of this? Do we know?
I mean, it was in the packet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's one.
Oh, Jeffrey, go ahead. Your hand is raised, Jeff. Didn't even recognize.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
I just wanted to mention, just because there are so many communications with various orders today that, I figured it would be cumbersome to try to read all of them into the public.
Right.
So if members of the public are looking to find those, they're on the agenda packet tab on the website listing of this meeting, so people can read over those.
Thank you for that, Jeffrey. That's why you get paid the big bucks.
Motion to take up item 3.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 3 was filed by Jose Maldonado-Velez that the Office of Tenants Protection be created, that this will be housed under the Board of Health or appropriate department, which will work on holding landlords accountable and making sure all residents of Holyoke are living safe. Again, he's not here present.
Motion to table until he gets here? Okay.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Motion to take up item 4.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 4 was filed by Councilor Givner that the Board of Health publicize an email phone number to receive health-related complaints, odor nuisance complaints generally in regards to manufacturing and commercial businesses. Counselor Givner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I filed this order because at the time we were talking a lot about odor nuisances and other health-related issues in the city. And we talked a lot about making sure there's a number that people can call as a main line, and talked about publicizing it better. I notice here in the communication that there is a Board of Health line. The main line is 413-322-5595. And the public health nurse is at 413-322-5598. They don't have the budget for advertising, but I think this is a simple fix where if we just know it exists, we can spread the word, put some blurbs. Maybe we can beg our dear assistant Jeffrey to add something to the website if it's not already there. And yeah, we can just spread the word.
I'm wondering if that's not something that they could probably be provided with community impact fees money, because it's odor nuisance, and that would be impact for marijuana. But we see if we could just buy or get or employ people that can do all instead of just one, or would that be too much of a stretch?
So we're looking to advertise it, right? Just the information?
Well, there's that.
But we're also looking for people to be on the other end of the line, available to deal with
Yeah.
complaints.
But I mean, what do you want to do for it?
I mean, this is what I asked for, was a phone number.
Okay.
So that's available. I guess the next order would be to
Find a
put
way.
funding in for advertising, et cetera. So
All right, so-
I'll make a motion that this item number 4 be complied with.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Item 4 is complied with.
Motion to
Take up
take up
item
item 5.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 5 reads, was filed by Councilor Israel Rivera on October 18th, that the city explore using cannabis impact fee funds to improve sidewalks on the following streets: Main Street, North Bridge Street, Lima Street, and Center Street. Communication, I'll read, I believe. This one looks like it could be a little shorter. So the communication for this one I got from Attention Council. Councilor Rivera, thank you for, Aaron Vega, thank you for your order in regards to utilizing cannabis impact fees to address infrastructure repairs. I regret that I cannot attend, he could not attend the meeting, so, but wanted to say that using cannabis impact fees for this would be allowed by current impact fee guidelines. The specific locations of these improvements would be key to approval. I think working with the city engineer on the scope of work would be a good first step. OPED has developed a process for using impact fees, which is a good thing to hear, starting with an application, then a review by the Citizens Cannabis Review Committee, a meeting with the mayor and the auditor, and finally an order to the city council. The city council process to allocate these funds would be through the finance committee and then the full council. And then if you have any additional questions, I can make myself available to discuss. Continue to work with the stakeholders on utilizing of these funds and to ensure we are keeping in line with the intent of these funds to address the impacts of this new industry in Holyoke. Then I got a communication from Chris Baker. Main Street may be targeted for a complete streets project in the future. North Bridge Street, Lyman Street, and Center Street will be assessed as part of the CDBG sidewalk project in this fiscal year or next fiscal year. A decision about the replacement of brick sidewalks with concrete will need to be made. And I got a phone call today about that, and I will be reaching out to tenants that live on Lyman and Grover in the Flats neighborhood to address the replacement of the sidewalks to concrete from brick. So I guess I was motion that this order is complied with.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 5.
Motion to take up item 6.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 6 was filed by Councilor Maldonado-Velez, ordered that the city provide an update on any anti-racism and diversity training already in place for employees and update on how it can be improved. I believe Kelly from HR is here for this particular order, but if I'm wrong, she could correct me.
I am here.
So I do want to table it, but I kind of, just because she's here, I don't want to waste her time and have her update it and then maybe report back to Jose.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Kelly.
So I was excited to see that the council was interested in the anti-racism training. When I was at the school department, that was a large amount of the work I did. Sorry for the background noise, I have visitors. But we don't have any resources currently at City Hall to provide that training, but it is something that I want to prioritize, and the mayor does too. So as soon as we could identify some funding, we'll start planning it. I do want to gather data on our current demographics, and I found out that just this week that the Mass in Motion coordinator may have some funds to help support us. So I don't want to get too deep because I know Councilor Maldonado-Velez is not here and it's his order, but I'm happy to entertain any questions.
No, so I just to not waste your time. You did a perfect job of elaborating real quick on what it is that we're that Councilor Maldonado-Velez filed. Unless anybody else has any other questions, I'm okay with tabling it just to make sure he's here for the rest of it.
All right, motion to table item 6.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
Motion to take up item 7.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 7, that the Parks and Recreation and DPW give us an update on the project and remodeling of Springdale Park. With us, we have Tom Reynolds. Thank you, Tom, for being here. Go ahead. Take the floor.
Good evening, everybody. Just wanted to go over kind of quick. I know Izzy and I talked briefly a week or two about this. So we're all on the same page. There's a master plan for revitalization and the installation that we'll do at Springdale Park. It was created, I think, a couple of years ago. A lot of time and some money went into it. So, I have it on my wall in my office, which is kind of a cool thing to look at. But we're working off that to figure out what we want to do. In terms of what we want to add to Springdale Park. A playground was just finished this past summer. We will be looking to go, we'll be looking to go kind of further down that road and see what we can do implement-wise down into that area. When I first started in June, I had sat down and spoke with the engineers. Bob Parent was still here and overlapping with Chris. We had talked about, going off this plan and strategically kind of thinking of what we wanted to do, where we wanted to put it, and make sure we did it in a good process, methodical, so we didn't have to overdo work. If we did something, we have to work around it or kind of pull it up and do through it, so like a walkway type deal. We have potential putting walkways around the installations when they are completed. So we kind of want to hold off because we don't want to say put that walkway down, then have to drive over it or dig it up to go around and then back behind it for further installations for the playground there, or for the park, not the playground. So, looking at the master plan, there are some big ticket items down there that need to be addressed at some point. It's going to take some time and money for those. We've got some parking lot renovations. The building that my parks crew uses, I think is potential to be a visitor center. So we have to relocate my parks crew and their equipment and stuff. Some of that building's kind of needs a little TLC. There's a possible visitor center there with bathrooms, some gating and some fencing, or some the wooden guardrails we have at Community Field, kind of to protect the surfaces and stuff like that from people driving out there. But again, we don't want to put that in there if we're going to be having contractors do work and stuff and go around and make the job, you know, harder, or kind of put money into it just to pull the money out to do another job there. So, you know, we're trying to work from, I don't want to say the middle out, but, you know, we're trying to pick out what we can do smartly there, so we can not spend money or waste money and just to spend more to redo stuff. The playground that was just finished there this past summer was pretty much all done when I came into office. So I just kind of made sure there's some finishing things there. It was completed with CBDG from last year, wrapped up. We will be looking forward to this round. I know the deadline's January 15th for the next round of CBDG funding. My commission board and I, we talked and we figured that we were going to try to do that splash pad down there. There's a splash pad that's right there next to the playground. It's a little bit closer to Main Street. It's been there for quite some time. I have no actual year when that was there, but I'm guessing it was early 2000s. It's hurting. It needs a lot of TLC. The concrete's cracked. The element's been pulled out by someone. The electrical work was kind of yanked out a little bit. But with all that, you know, it still gets a lot of use during the summer. Just for my going down there in the summer as a cool-off spot, it was getting used heavily, and it's something that we should, you know, address sooner than later. It is right next to the playground, so going off that plan, we wouldn't be kind of dropping this in the middle of Springdale. We'd be kind of off to the side, and we can still develop those bigger ticket items without this being any interference with work going forward. The idea why we do that splash pad, because then we have a brand new playground down there. We do a splash pad right next to it, and that gives the park goers, besides using the fields, the baseball fields, the soccer fields, the basketball courts, two big items that they can use while they're down there, all park goers. Why we maybe next year or going down the road, future years, while we work on those big buildings, the parking lots, the ramps, you know, the reef fields, and whatever installation we can put down there. Whether it's the new handball court, pickleball, we want to do new volleyball, new surfacing for basketball, whatever it may be, you know, we can work from this side over and back and make sure it fits that kind of that layout that we're looking for. Again, just kind of staying methodical with our approach and not just kind of dropping stuff in there because we want to get it in there. Again, we have the 7 splash pads in the city. This is probably the bottom of the chain on there in terms of quality. So, you know, it's a great spot down there. It gets a lot of use, a lot of traffic down there. So we're thinking that that's the next round of where we're going to go for CBDG. And then the next installation would be down at Springdale Park, would be that splash pad. You know, going down the road, like I said, we've got the buildings, the parking lots that need to be expanded, more parking. The visitor center bathrooms are huge in terms of priority, but we figure that we can give the public 2 brand new things that they can use, and they'll be able to use that while we possibly do our renovations on the lots and the other stuff going forward. The funding for that Springdale, you know, there's a few sources that we can use. You get the park grant, that's the middle of the year. You get the CBDG, you got CPA that we'll be applying for each cycle that we can, you know, and try to see what we can do to chip away off that master plan for Springdale. Springdale's a great park. So we just want to kind of keep putting some love into it and then just kind of bring it along as we go. You know, we were just notified from the conservation office, luckily with Yoni, that we were just notified that Springdale was kind of added to the EEA, which is the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs. They have a Gateway Cities park program. So we actually got put on that list for Springdale Park for potential funding from the guaranteed source, which is the Economic Development Spending Bill. They just got a lot of money reallocated into that section, and Yoni just brought it to my attention that Springdale got pushed on that list. It's not a guarantee, but we are a couple finalists on that list for maybe a bigger ticket item down the road. So that's good news on that front for Springdale. So like I said, we're just slowly picking away, just kind of methodically picking what we need and try to give what, you know, like I said, we saw that splash pad be used, and it's a little hurting, so we just want to get that up and going, and then go from there. So then everyone can have something to do while they're down there.
Thank you, Tom.
Absolutely.
Counselor Kogo. I'm
All
sorry.
right, Counselor Izzy.
I'm
Thanks.
sorry. I lost my train of thought for a second.
Well, hello, Mr. Reynolds. Welcome.
Well, hello.
I just had a quick question.
Sure.
Just for like the timelines, I know you're picking away. I hear splash pad and playground getting a little bit of a facelift. Sounds like that'll be the next step. What's the timeline you're thinking on, like, overall?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the playground's done. That's completed.
Okay.
That was finished in the
Just
summer. So we're kind of in a lull right now, but we'll be applying for that splash pad. Splash pad, if we get the funding for it, hoping to be, I'd say by end of next summer, giving space for any shipping. Obviously with the supply chain issues that we're all tired of hearing and everything. It's affecting everything in terms of playground shipment processes, contractors' work. So I don't want to say that it'd be there installed by the end of next summer and it'd be longer because of certain things. But we're hoping if we get the allotment of money and then we're awarded by whenever we find the awards out earlier in the spring, I believe.
So that's the
that
goal.
we can kind of move those along. Again, but that's just kind of the pipeline there. In terms of the overall park, there's a lot of stuff. It's a big plan with a big price tag.
Yeah, is there like an order of operation for what you're hoping to do? Like, I just hear splash pad first, but like ideally, what order would things go in?
Splash pad's gonna be probably easier of the fixes because, like I said, we have my park grounds crew that is in that building, right off Jed's Landing Way, I believe it is, off the west side of the park, towards US Sabaki. That I think that part of the plan itself, when this master plan was created, was probably at a $700,000 price tag to increase the parking around that building, to refab that building, put bathrooms in that building. But then what happens with that building is we have to shift my crew that does the park's maintenance to somewhere because that's their building. That's where all their equipment is. So a construction of a second building was also in that pipeline. But what comes first of those, I don't know. But I know my guys would need a space to go. So I'm not sure if we plan on building a building there first or having them go somewhere and then have that building to create into bathrooms, which we need down there. We need a lot of bathrooms there. So, there is a pecking order off that plan. But like I said, for the bigger ticket items, it's going to take more time and definitely be a bigger price tag than the playground was this past year. Excuse me, and the splash pad would be in for our next step. So if you go up past the parking lot that's off of Main Street by Rudd's or whatever the ice cream place was down that side, that has a big overhaul too. They want to extend it in the plans. It wants to be extended, an ADA compliant wheelchair access walkway coming down to the fields, and then going from there. There's a lot of stuff, but there's kind of a retaining wall that needs to be in there. So it's definitely a couple of years for sure for getting the whole park from soup to nuts to go. But just like I said, the playground's an easy one, and that splash pad's an easy one in terms of location. Price tag is a little lower than these other bigger ones, and like I said, we just want to give that available so then the park can still be used while we kind of go to a different angle and check out and try to tackle some of these other stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Tom. Before I recognize Counselor Will Puello in the chat or the feed, I brought it up because I was on the board when we created the master plan, and I remember the idea was for at the time was to apply through the park grant to try to be able to cover most of the funding. But instead, we ended up fixing the pool, which was like $2-point-something million at the time.
Holyoke pool?
So Holyoke pool. So we chose the pool over the park, which is both is good. Then the pool keeps people warm over the summer. So I'm just trying to get an update as to like when or if we're gonna apply for the park. Try to get the process back on track to what? Because this was something actually that Terry Murphy was pushing when he was on the board with me for at the commission for Parks and Rec. But it got pushed on the back burner because in his mind it made sense too for the pool, Pouliot pool too as well. But Councilor Puello.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks, Mr. Reynolds, for being here. I just wanted to say, I mean, maybe in the future we could get some sort of breakdown of how the money works on this, because I know that the master plan calls for, I think it's like a $5 million project in total, so it'd be helpful to see what's actually been done and what's been funded and kind of what we're hoping to fund through certain grants, because I mean, $5 million, I mean, if you really think about it, I feel like we're going to be waiting on this for a while. So it would be really interesting to see where these funding sources are projected to come from, because I know not very much of that $5 million has been allocated. I think it's in the hundreds of thousands. And my question is, I'm not sure if you'd be the right person to ask, is has there been any word on the traffic movement down there? I know with the traffic light it wasn't working. Is that more of a Chris question?
Yes, that'd be more of your engineer, Chris Baker, question for that aspect. But Councilor Puello, to go along, when they did that plan, the price tag is about a $5 million price tag for that whole park, with, you know, the bigger stuff, the fields being redone, the walkway passed through, you know. Like I said, I've just been here since June, so I just know by looking at the past awardments from CDBG, you know, you're looking anywhere between $150,000 to $220,000 from other parks for installations there. You know, I'm not real sure on the purse of the park grant, but it sounds if the pool was done off the park grant with that big of an allotment of cash, then we could definitely do a big dent in damage of Springdale Park. If that was, you know, if we can get $750,000 to, you know, $1 million plus, I mean, that definitely would knock out a big ticket item. And I'm not sure if that's something we look at every single year to try that. I mean, realistically, I mean, with that price tag, and that price tag from $5 million was from however many years ago this master plan was put together. I mean, as you know, we're paying more for groceries, we're paying for everything in terms of, you know, materials and labor and stuff like that. That's all going up as well. So it's, you know, that's probably skewed and probably gone up just in a little bit of the time from when that master plan was created to where we sit today. You know, the CPA, you know, again, I don't want to say it's small change, but in terms of like with the Pouliot pool with the $1.5 or $2 million, you know, it's a lot less allotment of cash for what we have. So, you know, park grant we'll be going after every time, you know, like I said, that's middle of the year, that's July, you know, so you know, a couple of years to get it everything that's on that master plan to get it to be, you know, come to fruition there. So
Thank you, Tom. Any other questions? All right. Well, I have a motion for the order to be complied with for now.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to take up item 8.
Thank Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
you.
I appreciate you coming late at night.
What'd you say?
I said I appreciate you being here. Really do.
Nope, no worries.
Always a
I
pleasure.
think I'm on the
to
next
see
one
you.
anyways.
Oh yeah, he's on the next one too.
It's on the next one.
Oh, you're on the next one too? Oh man, they really did you a number. No, just
Hook, line, and sinker.
motion to entertain item 8.
Yep. Second.
You already did?
Yeah.
And I said all in favor already? No. Okay, all in favor.
Aye.
Okay. Item 8 was filed by myself and Councilor Tallman that the City Council invite the Mayor, Community Development, Parks and Recreation Department, as well as Public Health to Public Safety Committee to discuss developing a form of community coalition around addressing homelessness, substance abuse, and youth programming. Tom, since you're the only one here, you can just address what you're doing around your department.
My realm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So the
Yeah,
idea, real quick before you start, the idea behind filing this is to be able to have a conversation with a couple of the department heads on how to mitigate some of these issues. If they're already doing that, that's great, but it would be good for them to update the public here in a public session in front of everyone. But yeah, go ahead, Tom. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So on my piece of that was the youth programming. I know we sent in a communication where we all kind of put stuff together for you guys, for the council and their chambers and stuff. But for my part, for the youth programming, We definitely, there's a need for it, and more of what's being offered currently. Like I said, I've been here since June, and I've been working pretty busily trying to create and then meet people, get face to face, build contacts, relationships, so that when we go forward, we can kind of have that working relationship with, other organizations, whether it's the library, the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, the senior center, other stuff like that, so we can get moving with some programs that we can offer for the community. We have a lot of sports programs, but in terms of other non-sports or athletic recreation programs, we can definitely be upping our ante in that, and we're working on that too. There's, like I said, we just don't want to kind of hop into it and try to have an idea and just kind of throw it to see if it's going to stick or not, without kind of going through the measures and the processes to see if, what we have, do we have the resources, do we have the space, can we get stuff for the adults or the kids to use. And I see, we're talking about youth programming here, but it goes for all age groups here. But we're trying to figure out some more stuff we can do after school, later in the days. I know the library's got a great program going, so like I said, we're trying to figure out some more groups and stuff to kind of collaborate with, so we all can come together and have more offering on the table across the board. So it's been busy, and it's been good because I've been meeting a lot of people, which is great. This is the youth programming part. It's a big piece. I know in my interview coming in, it was a big thing that I wanted to take heart with, because I feel it's important for the community to have some outreach for these kids and the youth. Maybe not everyone's an athlete. Everyone's not playing softball. Maybe not every youth is playing, basketball or baseball, football, or whatever the case may be. So we're trying to figure out what we can do for the non-athletes, and then just because it's non-athletic doesn't mean that the athletes can't do it either. But some crafts, some arts, some music, some dance, and we're just trying to express every avenue and see where we can go and take this through. I just know we're kind of in a tough spot with indoor space for the most part. I know we had going with suburban basketball, we kind of figured out the process of working with HPS and getting some gym space for that. But we're hoping we can figure some space out over these winter months, so we can give that chance to some of these youth to get the programming in and get them busy and get them in the social environment. And it sucks because the past 2 or 3 years, with COVID, it's the social piece for these youth. I know because I have a 2 and a 4-year-old, and you see some of these babies that were born in COVID, and they don't know the whole social aspect, because they just been, everyone's been in. Trying to give space to everybody and kind of going places, where there's not going to be a lot of people. So we're just trying to get that social interaction back in our youth that we have. I mean, you can see at the playgrounds and stuff with who was around people and who may not have been around people during the whole COVID process. And it's a tough one to see, because, you want all your kids to be playing with other people and, the classrooms and stuff like that. So we're definitely trying to see what we can do in terms of starting getting the ball rolling for some youth programming that we can offer for the community here.
Thank you, Tom. I'll probably motion to table it just to try to get everyone in the room all over again, to make sure that we can actually have a conversation around it, and have dialogue on a public setting. So I thank you again, Tom, for your time.
Yeah.
I motion to table it.
Table item 8.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you again, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Motion to take up item 9.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 9 was filed by myself, that the police department provide an update on what steps and systems are put in place to ensure that ShotSpotter will work effectively and efficiently when the new technology is installed. The purpose for me behind this order was to try to see where the department is in setting up this, the structure to support the system, and make sure that the system is going to be used effectively, and that it's actually produces positive outcomes in a sense, with regards to us being utilizing the ShotSpotter system. To my understanding, it takes a couple years of bumps and bruises just to grow through the system. So for me, is trying to find out what they're doing to try to mitigate as many bumps and bruises as they can for the 2 years that we have the grant for now before we actually got to come out of pocket for it. So the chief, I guess, couldn't be here, but I have to give the chief credit. He's almost always here when I tell him to come in. So I got to give the chief credit on that. And he sent a communication. Here he says to the city council, the Holyoke Police Department has just recently finished agreements with ShotSpotter. We are currently working with Springfield Police Department to develop our policy and procedures. We are also going to be getting valuable insight from Springfield PD on what has not worked for them. We have been informed that ShotSpotter has selected their team that will be coming to Holyoke to work with our team. They will help establish best setup locations, training of officers, and other implementation steps. We are expecting to set up an initial meeting with the ShotSpotter team shortly. After the initial meeting, it will be my hope that I will be able to provide more information for the city council. I will keep the council informed as my information develops. If you have any specific questions that you would answer, please feel free to email them to me. So I guess based off of him saying that, hope that he would be able to provide more information after he meets with them, I'm okay with tabling this for now until after he meets with the ShotSpotter and they start devising. So I guess for me, it's just what's it going to look like, right? I don't need to know where it's going to be at. I don't need to know none of that stuff. I just need to know, like, what's it going to look like if it goes off? Who's going to be the officers? Are they going to be trained? What's going to be the training that they take? I don't need to know specific details if it's going to, like, jeopardize their system or whatnot, but there has to be some form of plan of attack. And I kind of want it to be formulated, or at least hear it out before they actually start implementing things. Because if we implement as we go, then we run into situations where we are not using the technology to its best ability, and that's what we should be capitalizing on. But if it's up to me, I would like to motion to table the order.
Motion to table item 9.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Motion to take up item 10.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 10 was filed by Councilor Maldonado-Velez and myself. Is ordered that an RFP be created to study a community responder model type program that is outside the police department but works in collaboration with that department as one of the several contributing partners.
Can I be added to this? Is it too late?
No, I'll say.
So we'll ask Jeff to add Councilor Givner to this.
Question two.
Go ahead if you have a question.
Thank you, Mr.
Councilor Givner.
So I've done a lot of research on the CRUST program in Amherst, and the only reason I was saying I would like to be added to this is because I think I can offer a lot of information from what I've already found for their program that works. I've also been in touch with Chief Pratt and sat with him and Mayor Garcia and shared that information and the findings. So I think it would be a good starting point for, the beginning of this program should it come into fruition.
So I will motion to table it. Ask Jeffrey to add Councilor Givner. I can't talk tonight. To add Councilor Givner to the order and table because Maldonado-Velez is not present at the moment.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to take up item 11.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 11 was filed by Councilor Kevin Jordan and Tallman. That the PVTA be requested to replace their bus shelter on South Street at the South Street Shopping Plaza. Bus riders have gone some time without the prior shelter. So we've been in twice, I believe, already to speak on this. I got pictures today emailed to me. Okay. Hold on a second. I got communication.
Yeah, there's communication.
Yeah. This is from Carson Bartley, right? I was going to summarize this, but I'll read it. Starting last summer, we've had some really good offline meetings in person, as well as numerous emails, and here's where we are. The city has demolished the existing concrete foundation and installed a new pad. The city installed support beams in back of the new foundation to prevent a recurrence of cars crashing into the shelter. The PVTA has identified a new shelter it will install. It should include a bench. The PVTA has identified a budget for labor. The PVTA is waiting to identify a labor crew to do the work. We can install this complied with pending file installation. Though I didn't sign on to this order, I can pretty much say I can. Okay. So it sounds like this order is complied with.
Yeah, it sounds like the pad's in and they're
Pad's
just
in.
getting everything to build it.
Yeah, because I saw the picture that he sent too as well, attached with this.
They've been doing a lot of work and it's ready,
Yeah,
or getting there.
no, that's good. That's pretty awesome.
Make a motion it's complied with,
Second?
based on the information given.
Motion that the order is complied with, based on
Second.
the information given. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion.
Motion to take up item 12.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Item 12 was filed by Councilor McGee, that the legal department review the alleyway near 5 Fairfield Ave to determine its city property, and that the DPW repair the fence and alley from its vehicles going through the city, see attached photo. So we've spoken on this about 3 times already. I just brought it back up to make sure you got an update, if that's what you were looking for.
So it hopefully will be complied with.
Okay.
So,
Is that hopefully or tabled?
no, I think I spoke with Chris, legal, and the homeowner. It's just, when they get there, they're gonna do it. It's just timing, staffing, when they have. And that's always been the issue in the sense of when we can get there, but we'll say that this is complied with based on what I've been informed on.
So it's complied with, and if they don't do it, you file another one?
I'll be coming back, yeah. I'll take it off for now. Hopefully it'll be done soon.
That works.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
So the update from Chris in that communication also says that Attorney Bissonnette was going to speak on this too.
Ooh, thank you. We have Attorney
I don't
Bissonnette
have
here.
that communication.
Yeah, he's here. I don't have that communication either, but that's cool. He's here. Attorney Bissonnette, always grace with your presence.
Evening, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. The president is quite right. Chris Baker is going to go out, and we're going to get an estimate on that white fence. But interesting that this is a anomaly, really. It's not the usual alleyway that we see downtown where each abutter owns half. This actually runs 5 blocks from Highland all the way out to Beacon, straight through, and basically looks like the old, I think they called it the ash and trash route back in the day when the horse and buggy would go through. Very narrow, certainly could see a fence at 5 Fairfield got hit. So I don't know, I've also suggested to Chris it might be time to take a look at that street and how we're using it, and whether it originally was laid out to be a public way, whether we ought to take some action with it. Ownership is in doubt, and it could well be one of those legendary paper street, a plan from over 100 years ago, but we'll try to track it down.
Looks like a pedestrian zone to me.
Thank you, Mr. Bissonnette. So, motion
Complied with.
complied with.
Yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Motion to take up item 13.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Item 13 was filed by Councilor Juan Anderson Burgos, that the DPW seek an alternative solution for rock salt. Salt is corrosive to vehicles and roads and can contaminate drinking water and be toxic to wildlife. I don't
No communication. with-
have a communication for
It's,
this,
uh,
even though
Isn't
they're
it
filed.
It's the one from Chris.
Yeah.
Oh, the big juke.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Come on, guys. Come on. They should have just had the group meeting here. You know what I mean? I can't even find it.
Yeah, I lost it too. It's here. I know I saw it.
Oh, originally.
It must be this one. Here it is.
Todd's looking
Here
good.
it is. Here.
I just had it. I was reading it. put it
Item
down.
13.
That's why you don't send communications, man. don't care. I'm gonna
pushing
tell you.
more paper at me.
Well, look at all this paper, bro. Look at this paper. That was item 13.
Yeah.
Right. 13, DPW and alternatives. So public drinking water supply, this is a response from DPW. Public drinking water supply areas are treated with special mix with a higher percentage of sand. The DPW does not have capacity at this time to explore different applications.
I don't think.
Because Councilor Anderson Burgos is not present, I want a motion to table this until he's actually here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Motion to table item 13.
Awesome. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to take up item 14.
Second.
Okay. Item 14. Filed by Councilor. I'm lost, bro. Like,
Hold my
I'm
paperwork.
lost right now. We just got so much paper, bro. I'm gonna file an order for lack of no more paper, bro. Nah. So item 14 is filed by Councilor Givner with community support order to increase trash can minimum to 50 gallons for municipal pickup service as our DPW accommodates piles of trash bags in lieu of required current 35-gallon size. This in an effort to increase can use participation in order to mitigate the health hazards of torn and rummaged through pile bags for pickup. Councilor Givner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Basically, just from personal observation, I filed this order because there's often a lot of trash bags piled up on the curbs in our neighborhood all over Ward 4 that I've noticed, and unfortunately in the warmer months, it's not as big of a problem in the colder months, but in the warmer months, it's a real health hazard. We have all kinds of wildlife in our city, including possums and raccoons and all that kind of good stuff. So, and cats and dogs, obviously, which rummage through the trash. Obviously, if the trash were in cans, regardless of what size they are, the bags wouldn't be ripped by animals. So, I understand that we have a 35-gallon limit due to weight, but I don't see how that really, the reasoning doesn't match the functioning of our city. Because no matter how many, I mean, my neighbor can put out 50 trash bags, which happens, and they get picked up, but if I want to put a bigger trash can out with 3 trash bags in it, that's not acceptable. So my problem is more with, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, I understand what's written down and why it was written, but I think it's definitely time to revisit that because it can't be okay to just have trash bags in piles laying around our city and have those picked up regardless and then ticket people for putting out a trash can that's the wrong size just because they're trying to be tidy.
I agree. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is one of the reasons why I ran for city council. I got ticketed once after I just bought the barrel, brand new. I didn't know that you had a certain weight limit or a certain size. I put it out, and then they put the little ticket on it, and I was like, "What?"
But they picked up 42
But if
trash
I
bags
lay all the
next door.
bags out, they'll pick them all out. So the communication kind of elaborates on this.
Yeah.
So I want to read it out to the public just to be sure, so that they can hear it. There's currently a Holyoke Waste Management Advisory Group exploring improvements to the current solid waste and recycling collection and transfer station operations. The current limitations remain a 35-gallon barrel for refuse. Although the DPW sometimes collects bags of trash from the sidewalk, loose bags are not allowed under our ordinance. In addition, 50-gallon barrels would be too heavy to be lifted into the garbage trucks under the current operations in which the bags are hand lifted into the trucks. Huh? That the bags or the barrel?
Barrel.
The barrel.
But she says in which the bags. Anyways, the bags are hand lifted into the trucks. Through ARPA funding, there is $525,000 to order standardized trash barrels for residents to make trash pickup more efficient. These barrels may be larger than 35 gallons and would be compatible with tipping garbage trucks, and therefore the crews would not have to pick them up. Counselors are welcome to attend the advisory committee meetings. Contact Amy for the schedule. So I guess for me, right, when I wanted to file this order, but I didn't file it because when I called DPW, the lady was like, well, they can't pick up anything more than 35 pounds.
Right.
But for me, when I watch them pick up the trash, they don't actually pick up the whole barrel and throw it in.
They still take the bags out.
They go bag by bag and throw it into the barrel. So if they're supposed to take the whole barrel and flip it, then I get the 35-pound weight limit. I totally understand that. But I just need some consistency. That's all it is, man. Like some consistency. If it's that, then that's what it is. Right here, I just learned that we're not supposed to have bags loose.
Yeah, well, I would like to see what our city would look like if they didn't pick up
the
bags.
loose bags, right. But people are blatantly not following the ordinance by putting loose bags out.
But if you put out the wrong size trash can, you get a ticket.
So
I think this is an invitation to go to the meeting.
I mean, I'm on that committee.
Oh, you are?
I go to the meetings. I've been to 2.
All right, motion that item 14 be complied with.
Ooh, nice. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to take
15?
15, yeah.
Second.
Hold on. Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 15 was filed by Councilor Maldonado-Velez. I co-signed on October 4th, 2022. Order that the mayor create and fund the public safety department, suggesting a beginning budget of $500,000 for FY24. Motion to table the item. Councilor Maldonado-Velez is not here, and I do not see a communication for that one.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. Thank you guys for your time.
Motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
I appreciate you guys' time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Everybody have a good day.
Yeah.